When this is normal, you know something's wrong. Maulana Susanto is 6. He used to smoke 20 a day, but now he's at school, he's cut down.
Have you been trying to help him stop?
Iya mau, sebenarnya nggak ada yang datang, nggak ada biaya buat sekolah anak 2 itu adiknya ya kerjanya di pabrik rokok, pulangnya ya cuman segitulah penghasilannya cuma sedikit gitu loh Kak. Cuman buat makan sama sekolah itu saja nggak cukup kok.
There's been a 7-fold increase in the number of young children smoking in less than a decade. No minimum age for buying cigarettes and virtually no education about how bad they are for you. In Indonesia, cigarettes are today the number 2 item of household expenditure after rice. Indonesians get through 270 billion cigarettes every year. The nation is in the grip of a smoking pandemic. 2 out of every 3 Indonesian men smoke. In all, 90 million smokers and rising. A quarter of young teenagers are regular smokers. It's a lung cancer time bomb. Out here in tobacco's wild east, the Marlboro cowboy rides on. Big Western tobacco firms have been buying into what is now the fastest growing cigarette market on earth. Philip Morris, the makers of Marlboro, bought Sampurna, a local firm, for $5 billion. The industry's such a huge revenue earner for the Indonesian government that there's scant regulation. Advertising is everywhere. Cigarette firms sponsor rock concerts and sporting events, football, badminton, cycling and adventure sports, things children love and watch. Although the companies insist it's young adults they're targeting.
The corporate ethics code, apparently agreed by Indonesian tobacco companies, states that there shouldn't be any tobacco advertising within 100 metres of a school. It's completely unpoliced though. We've seen them everywhere. That's a school, and that's an ad.
And right next to the school, there's a tobacco kiosk, plastered in advertising, where school children buy cigarettes.
We, let's say from the government, have lost. It is the tobacco industry who have used all their skills, their resources, everything to get hold of these kids.
Indonesia, along with Zimbabwe and North Korea, is among a handful of countries not to have signed the UN Tobacco Control Agreement, which severely restricts cigarette marketing.
So what is stopping you from actually just signing the UN framework?
In the past, politically, it was very difficult because a lot of people in the government said we should not stop this because of the revenues. We got the revenues from tobacco tax. We are providing, or they are providing employment for so many million people.
You're going to be very unpopular if you take away jobs and dent the economy now.
So what? It's a sin. Why are they protecting the tobacco industry when they know that so many young kids become the victims?
The health minister says she's determined to take on an industry which provides 10 million jobs and 10% of state revenue. It's going to be quite a showdown. The cigarettes most people smoke here are called kretek. Tobacco is mixed with cloves. The entire Indonesian archipelago is infused with the smell of them. Kretek are to Indonesia what cigars are to Cuba, but they're killing 200,000 Indonesians a year. They have up to 4 times the tar yield of the strongest cigarettes on sale in Britain. While careful to insist that they're not targeting children, we have evidence that shows that tobacco firms are aggressively trying to get young people hooked. We've obtained confidential marketing documents from one of Indonesia's leading cigarette manufacturers, and what's very clear is that they're most interested in smokers aged 18 to 24. Attributes applied to different brands of cigarettes include young and cool, modern and trendy, and aspirational. Not far from where we'd filmed Maulana, the 6-year-old boy who dragged deep on strong clove cigarettes, lie East Java's tobacco fields. It's the backbone of the local economy. Here, children don't just smoke tobacco, they pick it. Supriyadi is 12. Along with his 2 teenage brothers, he works on the harvest like the rest of his village. Other children sort the tobacco leaves. Jum and Mita are both 11 years old. The trouble is, green tobacco is toxic, and those handling it can suffer acute nicotine poisoning.
Jadi pekerja anak di tembakau sebenarnya termasuk pekerjaan yang berbahaya. Jadi karena anak sendiri mestinya tidak boleh bekerja. Jadi anak itu tugasnya sekolah, belajar ya, dan bermain.
Arifin Penny is the local tobacco buyer. He sells it on to the big cigarette companies, and he told me that they regularly send their inspectors to the tobacco-growing villages.
Saya sebagai pedagang ya, itu.
He said some of the tobacco harvested and sorted by these children goes straight to a company owned by the world's second biggest tobacco giant, headquartered in London.
What he's just done is list the companies to which he sells the tobacco in the local town of Promolingo, and among them, Bentoel, which is owned by British American Tobacco.
The company claims it takes a firm stance against child labour. We wanted to put our evidence to Bentoel, the Indonesian company owned by British American Tobacco, but they declined our requests for an interview. They sent us a statement instead, so we went to their local headquarters to read it.
We invited British American Tobacco to...
In its statement, BAT said its representatives are always encouraged to tell farmers what its policy is on child workers. We were asked to cross the road to present the BAT statement on camera.
Its Bentoel group said that it did not employ any child labour, either directly or indirectly, and that it was actively involved in programmes to prevent the exploitative use of child labour in leaf-growing areas.
But is this exploitation too? A growing number of Indonesians now think so, and they blame big tobacco and their government for putting their country's financial well-being ahead of the physical health of their children. Jonathan Miller, Channel 4 News, Indonesia.